This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Hi, welcome to Business, Equity, and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Here we work to help you answer the question, how do I start or grow my own business? And then the complex questions that follow. How do I get started? Where do you get access to capital, money? What do I need to consider as I run my business day to day? How should I handle accounting and bookkeeping? We also focus each week on a specific industry and deliver some inspiration with a success story. We're here with a new show every Sunday on Wish TV. You can also live stream us on wishtv.com. We post each of our 7 weekly segments from past shows on our website, BE&O Watch them, share them, scan the QR code that's on your screen with your phone. It'll take you right there right now. While you're there, you can also listen to the Business, Equity, and Opportunities podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network and subscribe to our weekly newsletter. Our team updates it every Tuesday. For this week, let's get to the business of business. Here's what's coming up today on Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Indiana University is investing big in microelectronics. We'll preview the Indiana Conference for Women. Fifth Third Bank's Kimberly Ray talks cybersecurity. The Asian American Alliance has a seat at the table for you. Our industry focus meets the visionary, bringing new life to the city through a multi-million-dollar redevelopment. And our success story features a restaurant truly rising from the ashes. Let's get started. According to author Andrea Libros, women own 42% of all U.S. businesses, employing more than 9 million workers, bringing in nearly $2 trillion in revenue. October is National Women's Small Business Month, so All Indiana team Cody Adams and Kayla Sullivan spoke to the self-described mompreneur about her new book, She Thinks Big, the entrepreneurial women's guide to moving past the messy middle and into the extraordinary.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
There are a lot of unknowns and fears that creep in when it comes to launching a business, and while half of all female entrepreneurs fear business failure at some point in their career, 42% of all U.S. businesses are owned by women.
And 1 in 3 women-owned businesses is owned by a mom. That's not something to say boo about. But if you feel stuck and frustrated, we've got some big ideas to share from our friend and author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, She Thinks Big, Andrea Libros. Thank you so much for joining us. I love the way this book looks, and I'm gorgeous. Excited to check it out. Talk a little bit about this.
So, I think all entrepreneurial women really need to think big, which to me means thinking into the future. It's really easy to get stuck thinking about what's happened in the past or all the things that could go wrong. And it's a lot harder to think into the future and the success that you might have, or you will have. How about that?
I like that thinking.
So you're an entrepreneur yourself.
I am.
As we've mentioned. What are maybe the 3 biggest fears that women face as entrepreneurs?
So the first one I describe as fear of the unknown.
Sure.
So that really means your capacity to handle whatever comes your way. And a lot of women lack the confidence that they can do that no matter what.
Yeah.
So it kind of shows up in a couple different ways. The first I would say is fear of uncertainty. So whether you're a mom or an entrepreneur, you want to know what's going to happen. You want to feel in control. And really, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen even tonight. So when you don't have that certainty, you start to focus on the uncertain, and I kind of call it the blank spot of impending catastrophe. You start to catastrophize things, and then that leads you down a slippery slope, and a lot of times people just become paralyzed.
Yeah. And I feel like as a mom, that tendency became even worse once I had a child, because I thought the worst of all the things that could happen. So business is one of them. When you're providing for a family, you think risk and all of that. You also state that failing is inevitable, but it doesn't have to haunt you. So how do we keep from having failure weigh us down?
Well, I think failure is really just a feeling, right? So when we fear failure, we're judging, we're having negative feelings, and all those feelings are really triggered by what we're thinking. So good news is that we can choose what we want to think, and if we're thinking a thought that doesn't serve us or isn't useful and it's creating that fear, and we're feeling stuck or paralyzed, you have the power to change it. And that we don't have to go all the way to poly-positive, right? But if you can just get yourself to a place of neutral so that you can take a next step, you're going to be moving in the right direction.
How does that happen? Because just from my perspective, every woman that I have in my life, I've seen grow like literal third arms to make things happen. And so I know that some of those things, those scary things, are self-imposed. So how do we avoid that?
Yes, well, when we talk about fear of failure especially, we are feeling that we're going to fail others, right? We're not going to be able to live up to the expectations that we've set for ourselves or we perceive others have set for us. And then we kind of go into what I call the third category of failure fear of lack. So we're lacking time, money, and that becomes a spiral.
Sure.
Right, and we can kind of spiral down. So how do we change that? Again, it really goes back to what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Right, what you're thinking.
Well, thankfully, we have books like this to help us think big. Andrea, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming and chatting with us.
Getting Started, made possible by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation.
If you'd like to view any of our Getting Started stories, use the link on our website, beoshow.com. During this broadcast, quickest way there is to use the QR code on your screen. Scan it with your phone, it'll take you right there. If you have information that has helped you launch and operate a small business, tell us how you're doing. We'd like to share your story. The email is beo@wishtv.com. Coming up next, IU makes a mega investment in microelectronics. This is Business Equity and Opportunities.
One-on-one conversations with major political candidates from the voters' point of view.
The All Indiana Politics Podcast with Phil Sanchez. Unfiltered. Available in both audio and video format on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
Time on Business Equity and Opportunities to talk about accessing capital. Manufacturing semiconductors and other forms of tiny tech in America is a priority both out in Washington, D.C. and in Bloomington, Indiana. In what is one of the largest commitments made by a college or university to high-tech industry and national defense, Indiana University pledges to invest at least $111 million in the coming years to advance IU's national leadership in microelectronics and nanotechnology. Russell Mumper is IU's Vice President for Research.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Access to capital.
It is a great time, an exciting time at Indiana University with research. Indiana University just launched its IU 2030 strategic plan, and Pillar 2 is about transformative research and creativity. So IU just made an announcement. I think it's an amazing announcement, a commitment to our partnership with NSWC Crane to support multiple technology-based industries that is great for the state of Indiana, great for our faculty and our students, involving a partnership with Crane that obviously has defense-related ramifications, but also Crane works with and collaborates with hundreds of companies. So it's an opportunity for Indiana University to partner with those companies and involve students in those partnerships. So it is a monumental commitment, $111 million over 5 years, multiple components of that commitment. I will say that it was strategic for the university because each of the areas that we've committed are core to what we do in our academic mission and our research mission, but they're linked to IU 2030 strategic plan to have strong external partnerships. And obviously NSWC Crane is a strong partner. We've had a long partnership with Crane, but this was taking it to the next level. Another strong commitment was to work with the multiple industries and businesses that partner with Crane to increase our relationships with industry for the betterment of the state and for our students. The Luddy School is a great case study of how a contemporary young school, and it is relatively young, is doing things that they are doing basic research, but they're doing really impactful, what we call applied research, that really has a shorter time to impact, whether it's the marketplace or defense applications. And we're really taking advantage of the timeliness and the importance of the Luddy School. Certainly with our major announcement with Crane, Luddy School, many schools are involved, but Luddy School is obviously the leading school in that partnership. Obviously what the university has, it's one of its 3 tripartite missions is research. We try to align our research mission, what we do in research, to what we call high demand contemporary academic degree programs that are aligned with that research. So therefore, if the research you're doing is relevant to partners like Crane and companies, your academic programs is preparing the next generation workforce for those companies. And as it relates to those external engagements, and particularly economic development, or how we translate research to economic development, there's really 3 components. It's starting companies, it's partnering with companies to do really interesting research and development partnerships, and it's helping our local and state partners recruit talent to the state. And what they all have in common is they need new, ready workforce. And we are a university with over 90,000 students. A large percentage of them are doing things in technology and STEM. And so as we do this research, as we engage with our partners, we're not only providing great opportunities for our students to learn, but they then become the next generation workforce for that economic activity that we're helping to foster. We are really trying to up our game in developing long-lasting, sustainable, mutually beneficial partnerships with industry. And so we really have opened the door, rolled out the carpet to companies from various industries that want to work with the university, develop a long-term partnership that's mutually beneficial, to do things that are of interest, to introduce them to our students to work on those projects within those partnerships and become their future employees. And I think that would be of great interest to companies because they get 2 benefits. One is they get access to world-class faculty and staff that could help them solve problems, but then also their future workforce. I think what really excites me is I've been on board now for 5 months. It really paralleled with the launch of the IU 2030 strategic plan, which reimagined the role of the university. Obviously, we're going to continue with our tripartite mission of academic research and service, but there's really an emphasis in business partnership in translating our innovations to commercialization through these partnerships. That really interests me. I see a university that annually we produce about $800 million of externally sponsored awards and projects, but we really have a lot of potential to translate that through patents, through business partnerships, for producing a ready workforce to help an industry to produce the talent and help that talent stay in the state of Indiana.
If you'd like to learn more about IU's investment in microelectronics, we have links on our website, BEOshow.com. Some more cyber thoughts later as Kimberly Ray talks cybersecurity. Next, though, we preview the Indiana Conference for Women and more in the Week in Business. Stay with us. Time to talk about the Week in Business on Business Equity and Opportunities. Indiana Conference for Women will celebrate its 12th year this week, Tuesday, at the Indiana Convention Center. Organizers bill it as the largest professional development conference in the Midwest, saying the goal is to educate and inspire women to help build careers, develop professionally, and experience lives that are rewarding, healthy, and fulfilling. To see what it's all about, we talked to Deb Hallberg, the Executive Director of the Indiana Conference for Women.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
It got started because 2 fabulous Hoosier women got together and thought about what can we do to bring a conference like what's been held in California, what can we do to bring that to Indiana and to the women in the Midwest? And that was Billy Dragoo Garcia and Deborah Collins Stevens. And so they got together and decided that they were going to do this. And it was originally called the Governor's Conference for Women, and then transitioned to the Indiana Conference for Women. And it has grown, exploded from there to become the largest conference for women in the Midwest. So what they had was a brilliant idea on empowering women and getting them together to network and build their lives with more professional and personal development, how to be successful, whether you are an entrepreneur or if you're in corporate and you're on that leadership track, how to get to the top. If you want to be in the C-suite, how do you get there? In the beginning, there were a lot of C-suite women, more women in their 40s, 50s, and even 60s, and that were, I think they were curious about, okay, what are we bringing? What are they bringing to Indiana? What are they going to talk about with all these women? And so that was, I think that was the biggest part of the audience then, but it has, as the topics have changed and it has transitioned more into where we have entrepreneurs and women wanting to start businesses and wanting to know, okay, I want to transition from my corporate job to having my own company. How am I going to do that? And how am I going to meet the right people? Because one of the key components of this conference, and not to be downplayed at all, is networking. There are 1,000 women or more, and there are some men that are there because we need our allies, and there's a small percentage that are there to support those women. The networking is phenomenal, and you are going to meet those success stories, but you're also going to hear from women who have been there. They have failed, and they have brushed themselves off, and they got up and they did it all over again. So they're inspirational, and which is the theme for this year is Ignite, Inspire, and Innovate. And that's what we're doing. We are igniting that fire in these women who have these dreams, and then we're providing them with the innovation and the thoughts to help them build on those dreams. And then we want to inspire them and help them believe in themselves that they can be successful doing that. They can expect a fabulous program at the Indiana Convention Center on October 24th. Breakfast is from 7 to 8, and then we will start the program promptly at 8 with the first keynote, WNIA, being at 8:30. And we have a full day with some breakout sessions with 3 other speakers, and the breakout sessions are done 2 times in the afternoon, 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. You'll get several books, some of them from the people that are speaking, and but you will be getting books from fabulous authors and people that have spoken at the conference and are speaking at the conference. You will have the opportunity to meet all of these people face to face during their book signings and get your books signed. And if you want to get a selfie with them, you can have a selfie. So and again, the whole piece to network with 1,000 plus other individuals who are all there wanting to improve themselves through their own personal and professional development, and they're just seeking to be poured into and soaking up every bit of knowledge and story and experience that we can provide. Well, I love the conference. I was on the planning committee for the first couple of years that it was in town, and so then I've just rejoined as the executive director in May. So this has always been something I've been passionate about. So I think being part of the actual organization that's bringing these fabulous speakers to Indianapolis for women all over the Midwest to have access to. And I love that we look at speakers outside the state of Indiana, so they are speakers that they are A-listers, you know, as you mentioned. And that's what we strive for. We strive for those A-listers, for those people that other organizations are not going to bring to Indianapolis. So my excitement is all of it, to be part of it, in the middle of it, to work with the board, the co-founders, the volunteers. It's exciting, and I can hardly wait until October 24th.
This Week in Business is made possible by InnoPower.
The Indiana Conference for Women is Tuesday at the Indiana Convention Center. Speakers will include actress Minka Kelly, the History Channel's Juania Tebow, and sports agent Nicole Lynn. Get more information at beoshow.com. Also this week in business, the Small Business Administration is still holding its second annual Cyber Summit with sessions that happen each Wednesday of the month. The Indiana Women's Equity Brunch returns November 5th from 10:30 to 1:30 at the Biltwell Event Center in Indianapolis. The brunch invites women out for what they describe as an honest and critical conversation about building generational wealth. Football fans, Hall of Fame coach Tony Dungy is set to speak next month at the annual awards dinner at the Indiana Chamber of Commerce. Dungy guided the Colts to a win in the 2007 Super Bowl. He's the keynote speaker at the event presented by Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. It is November 14th at the Indiana Convention Center, downtown Indianapolis. The Indiana Small Business Expo 2023 Trade Show Conference is set for Thursday, November 9th from 1 to 7. It'll be at the 502 East Event Center in Carmel. To become a member or sponsor of the expo or to attend the conference, go to beoshow.com. You'll find the links to more information on this and all of these events. If your business has an event you'd like us to talk about in this segment on our show, send us an email 3 weeks ahead of time at beo@wishtv.com. Coming up, running your business day to day, but before that, accounting and bookkeeping with Kimberly Ray of Fifth Third Bank. This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Time for a look at accounting and bookkeeping. Cybersecurity, big buzzword in the business landscape, but exactly what is it? With the answer to that and other cyber questions, here's Kimberly Ray from Fifth Third Bank.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, accounting and bookkeeping.
When we talk about cybersecurity, it's referring to technology and practices that mitigate cyber attacks. And so the goal of cybersecurity is to protect a company's systems, their data, and their financial assets. What the fraudsters are trying to do, they're trying to attack their systems, steal data, or money. And so you want to have some type of protection against those, the attacks, to protect your business. Everyone is vulnerable for the attack. It doesn't matter the industry, it doesn't matter the size. No one is exempt when it comes to companies in terms of cyber attacks. I just read about a week ago where there were two, just to give you an example of scale, two large casinos in Las Vegas that had cyber attacks that totally disrupted their business. So no one is exempt from cyber attacks. The fraudsters are trying to get into your computer to obtain some type of information, or they're trying to get to, maybe you have your bank account information out there. They're trying to get to information to steal that so they can go perpetrate some type of fraud. You could be disrupted, your whole business could be disrupted from a cyber attack in terms of stealing that data or trying to steal your money, your working capital, whatever, just to be disruptive to your business and could really impact your business significantly. So to protect yourself, you can back up your systems regularly. You could, talk to your insurance broker about cybersecurity insurance to hedge the risk of getting a cyber attack. You certainly should educate your employees and yourself, just so you know, like if there's an instance where you're trying to be attacked, you know what to look for. I would say those are the main things that you can do to protect yourself. So we do take care of, our responsibility as your bank. However, there are ways that a fraudster could, we'll call it, compromise your system to make someone internally think. I'll just give an example. Business email compromise is a common cyber attack tactic that the fraudsters use. And so what it does is that they get into the email of an executive of the company and they'll send it to, like, say, an accounts payable person and say, email ABC company $1,000. And the AP person actually acts on that email request and wires out the money. Well, that's not the bank. You gave the instruction to the bank, to your employee to do that. So what the AP clerk should have done is go to the CFO and say, hey, did you send this email? So that's just one way. The bank, you have to work with the bank in terms of, because if we get the instruction, we're going to act on that instruction. So you really have to have some internal processes as well to combat cyber attacks. For cybersecurity, the bank has, what we do, we offer like thought leadership webinars to help you stay up on the trends that are occurring in cybersecurity, because it changes all the time. And so, we just reach out to our client, our prospects, to invite them to these various webinars it's basically just education. What I've seen is that we catch up with one thing, and so we're aware and we know how to mitigate that particular one, but then there's always something new that creeps up. So that continual education on what the trends are can be helpful for small business owners, just to be continually understanding what's out there and what the trends are.
Later, our industry focus is on revitalizing the Lafayette Square area. We meet the man behind it all. Before that, though, running your business day to day on Business Equity and Opportunity. Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities and running your business day to day, the fun stuff. Seat at the Table is a series of professional development programs for Asian Americans to build leadership skills, presented by the Asian American Alliance Incorporated. We spoke to the president of the Alliance, Rupal Thanawala, about the series and the next event happening tomorrow.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, running your business day to day.
So Seat at the Table started almost 7 or 8 years back when we got together as a team and looked at the many business events that we used to go and see that we don't have that many Asian American leaders in the room or at the podium or at the table. So with that, we said, why don't we start something called Seat at the Table? And few reasons. Number one, Asian American community has been growing by leaps and bounds in Indiana just in the last 20 years. We have grown up to 300%. Every year we get 15,000 students, and I don't even have a count how many people come to Indiana to get a job. However, most of the Asian Americans make it into the middle management, but not at the top level.
With growing community, our needs are also different. And we really felt that there's nobody really speaking up for us, so let's speak up for ourselves. We kicked off this event with actually Mayor Joe Hogsett at the time, and we said, I want to bring the Asian American community to City County building. And he opened up his a conference room, and we had around 60 business leaders and community leaders, and we filled up his table, As we said, sit at the table, we all sat at Mayor Joe Hogsett's table. But then with that, we have really been focused on few things. One is, how do we serve from student to senior executives, from solopreneurs to CEOs, and a volunteer to all the way up to vice president of this country as Asian Americans. And then we really focused on our speakers, one who can inspire us to be themselves or someone like themselves. So because if you don't see it, you don't believe it. So that was the one thing. Second thing is we also wanted individuals who can inspire us and teach us how to do it. So classic example is, we had Governor Holcomb come and talk to us, and rather we went to State House and talk about how we can take a leadership role in state of Indiana. But at the same time, we have been always very, very fortunate to find 3 to 4 sessions a year when we host it to have C-suite level or senior leaders from this community who come and talk to our members. Such as next week, I'll be speaking with Lucia Amar, who leads Bank of America Indiana market. In past, we had Dr. Aarti Shah, who was the CIO of Eli Lilly and Company, Serena Lin, EVP from Elanco, Nirav Shah from Republic Airways, and the list goes on and on. So many C-suite level executives, but at the same time, many city and community leaders who are not Asian Americans, but who can inspire us and influence us such that we are able to take a lead in this community. So next seat at the table is very unique. Lucy Amar has been one of the powerhouse women in Indiana in just last 3 to 4 years since she came to Indiana. But then she's also has a unique story. She was an immigrant student. Like as I just told you, 15,000 students come to Indiana every year. She was one of the immigrant students who came to United States and got her very first job starting as an analyst, and now she's leading one of the largest bank locations in the United States. So this is a journey that we want to highlight. But then, you know, we do not want to ignore the fact that often Asian Americans' journeys are not that easy. It's not linear, but it's full of hurdles. So she's going to speak very candidly about how she got to the seat at the table and what we can learn from her. Events are always free. Asian American Alliance puts together multiple events throughout the year. They're all free. And for this particular event, lunch will be served by Bands and Thornburg. So we always open up with a networking session where people mingle and talk to each other, because we also want to give an opportunity for people to meet the guest speaker and learn from them, like in a first hand. So lunch and networking event for 30 minutes and 1 hour of interactive dialogue with Lucia, where she has promised she's going to be. So she's okay to be vulnerable, but share, you know, her journey. So Lucia Marr, of course, is one of the very prominent women finance executive in Indiana. She was actually recently awarded by IBJ 250 most powerful individuals. She has been past IBJ's most women of influence, of course. But then more importantly, many industries have its own nuances where women, and especially brown women, are not really given the top positions. So journey has not been easy, which she can speak for herself as, you know, how she navigated it, and of course learned the tricks of the trade, you know, as she went up the ladder. So even if you cannot come for this seat at the table event, I would promise you that we will be having more and more events coming up. And if you know any individual who needs to be featured at seat at the table, please put a comment on our website and we'll contact you. One of the reasons I started Seat at the Table almost 7 years back, and I still keep on doing, is because I myself am a business owner. I'm a CEO of Trident Systems, and as a woman business owner, I had my own struggles, and I want to make sure that I'm able to inspire others and be the light for them. And that is the one thing that just keeps me going, and I keep on doing what I'm doing every day.
The Seat at the Table lunch with guest Lucia Marr is tomorrow from 11:30 to 1 at Barnes & Thornburg, downtown Indianapolis. No charge for admission. The event includes lunch. For links and more information about it, head to beoshow.com. Scan the QR code with your phone. It'll get you right there. Coming up, the success story of the rebirth of the beloved Country Kitchen in Indianapolis. First, though, we meet the visionary behind the rebirth of the Lafayette Square District and his emotional connection to the project. This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. Time for our industry focus. Today, the focus is on the Lafayette Square Mall neighborhood. 50 years ago, it was the first of the mega malls, if you will, to open in suburban Indianapolis. But in recent years, it has fallen on hard times, mirroring the fate of the wider West 38th Street corridor. A development company called Soho's Capital has plans to revitalize the entire area with a major and heartfelt overhaul.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. industry focus.
My company is Sohos Capital. We are a capital allocation company. Basically, I start investing in real estate. I did really well in real estate, and now I invest in businesses also. Actually, this is the neighborhood where I start my investment career. My first residential property was in this neighborhood. I came to Indiana around 20 years ago. My first job was a busboy in Don Pablos in the north side. And I started to buy residential, and I started to buy here. After I had enough residential, I started to buy commercial. And from there, I keep going. That's basically is the first neighborhood that I started to invest. And actually, just before the pandemic, I was ready to start to expand to another state. A lot of owners that for a long time didn't want to sell their properties for some reason. That time they want to do it. And that's why my career kind of changed, because from being this investor that is buying a single property, fixing the property, leasing it, and go to the next one, I acquired most of the properties in the neighborhood. And that's when the whole idea changed, because now I was like in a small mayor of this part of town where I need to check that the neighborhood does well, because my assets are here, and as well that the neighborhood does, it will affect all my properties. If I have a problem, I take it and I try to run with it and I try to fix it, and I had to put everybody together beside me to be sure that my team helped to fix it. I'm no match of a person that looks the markets that match, and I do that, but that's not obsessively. That's why for me it was really interesting when I was redeveloping the whole thing and see that the emotional connection that is with this neighborhood, not only with the neighborhood, with the city, with the state, with everybody. From the governor to the mayor to the a guy that is fixing the pipes, they talk with you for an hour before you start. Oh, I used to go there. That was the first time that I received the Christmas present. That was the first time that my uncle took me to this place. Pretty much everybody that I talk to has an emotional connection to this. And even if it was something that I wasn't expecting, it's really refreshing, because now I'm like, oh, there is more than that. And actually, that's a big part of what I changed the vision of the redevelopment, and that cost me millions of dollars. But I thought that was the right thing to do. And as you guys will see when I come back to the media to show the new master plan and what we're doing, we're embracing the legacy of Lafayette, and especially because that's something that I've been learning through the process. There is a misperception sometimes, and it's normal because it's what it is, because the biggest asset in the neighborhood is the mall. That's why the misperception is that this is gonna be a brand new mall that people will like it or not. The reality, that's the smallest piece of the whole thing, because the reality is, I always try to explain the vision as 3 circles, starting for the first circle, that is the mall. The mall itself, what is built in the mall, is around 20 acres. 10 of those are anchors. And that's why anchors are gonna be redeveloped. The anchors are not coming back anymore. My initial idea, and still is the idea, that the mall itself is gonna be a neighborhood where the anchors are gonna be apartment complexes, boutique hotels, corporate offices, etc. And the halls are gonna be cool streets for people to be able to hang up in wintertime, that the winters are long here, and some path to do stuff in the summertime. People. You understand, at the end is we are social creatures, and have the challenges, be confronted with your team, and see your team grows, and see the impact of people on their faces, people hugging you, or people thank you for what you're doing, even my kids looking at what we're accomplishing. You understand? At the end, is the best thing is what you can do for the people.
Industry Focus is made possible by Circulus Digital Media.
The news just broke in the last few days that Alamo Drafthouse Cinema will open its first Indiana location as part of the Soho's capital plan. We will talk to the founder of Alamo next week to see what the award-winning cinema eatery has planned. If you're interested in starting a business and would like to revisit any of our past segments, they always live at BEOshow.com. When we return, meet a pair of true survivors who are back in business after a disaster. It's our success story on the other side of this break. Time to wrap the hour up with our success story. Country Kitchen Soul Food Place opened in 1988, serving Southern dishes in Indianapolis. Grew to be a local staple with a national reputation, a must-visit stop for celebrity diners, including former President Barack Obama. But a fire gutted Country Kitchen in 2020, and the pandemic complicated the recovery, forcing owners Isaac and Cynthia Wilson to move to temporary digs and curbside service. Now, at long last, Country Kitchen is back home again, opening a new facility at the original address.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Success Story.
1, 2, 3.
It is a profound day where an institution for 30 years that has meant so much to this community is back. And the tragic fire that they endured and then the onset of the global pandemic, it's really nothing short of amazing that Isaac and Miss Cynthia have survived remotely, but now they're back at their place of origin, bigger and better than ever before, and it's a great day for Indianapolis.
The fire was devastating, and prior to the fire, we were pretty much going on about our daily routine. Although not many people knew, we wanted to remodel and have an event center. And then when the fire came, we just thought all our dreams were shattered, because I think they told me it was a 13 or 16 alarm fire. And when you have something that devastating, it just really overcomes you. And Isaac and myself, we contemplated not even coming back. But with the support that we had from the community prior to the fire, and with much prayer and conversation and staying into our true selves, we knew we had to come back. The community has been awesome. So now that we are back in business the way we were, we have a dining facility, we still have our carry-out, we still have delivery, and now we have an event center. So it's just been a blessing that we could come back in the way that we did.
It's a collective effort made by not only the public sector, but private sector people stepping forward to provide the type of resources for a small business like the Country Kitchen Soul Food that we are prioritizing not just small businesses, but particularly minority-owned, women-owned, veteran-owned, disabled-owned small businesses of every shape and size. That's an important priority that this administration has maintained, and we want to keep that going.
I would say to other businesses, when you have the community support, they're coming in every day, they're supporting you, they're buying your product, because without the customer, you wouldn't be there. So it's very important for all of us in business to realize without the customer, we wouldn't be here. And so therefore, that's why I think it's important, even if it's not much, do something. Give back in some kind of way, because it just makes good business sense. And as you can see, with us in our Christmas giveaway, the community came back and helped us too.
It's the love of the people, you know what I'm saying? and we have compassion and love for people, period, you know what I'm saying? And so by them doing what they do every day for the last 30 years, it just overwhelmed my heart to just do something for the people that are less fortunate than we are.
In order to stay afloat, we have to put our best foot forward in order to serve the people, supply the people, so the people can continue to come. And so our most immediate need would be to open up and have people come in so we can start getting a return on our investment. As Isaac said, we feel the love all the time, through the good, through the bad, through it all. Without each other, we wouldn't have made it, and without the help and love of the community, we wouldn't have made it.
I would encourage you to go out to see some of the celebrities and the dignitaries that have dined here at the Country Kitchen. And I must thank Miss Cynthia and Ike for including me in the mural. Now, I don't know whether you know Alan, but he's a great guy. He's a wonderful, wonderful friend and a great guy. But this should be here, and that should be here.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, look, it's just, it's a collection of the people who have dined here. I mean, President Obama, when he wasn't president, but he was Senator Obama. And then, of course, the Carsons.
That is Business Equity and Opportunities for today. Our thanks to all of the storytellers who contributed today. If you want more information about the topics on our show, find links on our website, beoshow.com. We still have the QR code up so you can scan that and go right there. While you're there, look for the past segments from our show, from each of our 7 weekly topics. Watch them, pick out good ones, download them, use the buttons right underneath them to share them on social media and directly with friends. Listen to and subscribe to our Business Equity and Opportunities podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Sign up for the newsletter that we update every Tuesday. And if you have questions or a success story of your own to share, send us an email, beo@wishtv.com. We will see you next week for more Business Equity and Opportunities. Till then, go get to business.
Business Equity and Opportunities is made possible by Indiana Economic Development Corporation, InnoPower, Bose McKinney & Evans, Gemco, Fifth Third Bank, and IU Indianapolis.